It's a rough day today. I'm just saying. My stomach's all upset. My heart's hurting because I'm selling off some of my birds. Now, if you have followed my channel, you know that I am really into my chickens. I love my chickens. I love breeding my chickens, but there's a purpose for it. Since I'm trying to design my own bird for my farm, my homestead, um, there are certain characteristics that are very important. Number one is color. I am trying to get rid of the white color out of my birds because we have so many hawks. And you're like, well, hawks see the white birds first. Just saying. However, they've never taken any of my big Brahmas. Anyway, temperament, characteristics of being flighty. I don't care for that. Now, two of the birds I'm selling are two that I bought last year. One Australorp and one of my little Spitfire olive eggers. So those two are going because I have two of each of those, and I only need one. So I'm throwing those two in to make it a solid five. So that way she gets some birds this year, and she don't have to deal with the chicks, and she don't have to deal with that. But it's where they're going. That's awesome. And we're going to go there, and I'm going to show you this place, and it's going to be a great field trip. Even though it's going to be breaking my heart, I will probably be crying just because I love those birds. So I need to get out there and catch them. I need to get all of this in order. Um, very sad. Very, very sad. So, I'm going to be moving some birds around. I'm going to take my 6 old Brahmas, which are going to be 6 years old this year, and I'm going to put them in a stall in the barn. And it has an outside feature on it that they won't fly out of. So we're going to remove them from that coop, and then it's going to relax the birds in that coop a little bit. And then I'm going to catch and mix and match some of my hens with Oliver and Tut. So those are going to be my two breeding roosters, and so I've got to divide my hens appropriately to those birds or to those roosters. Now, Oliver has green legs, which means he is really carrying that olive bloodline, which is good. So we are going to put the darker birds in with him, and then with Tut we can put some of the lighter birds because he's a darker bird. I believe that they have different mothers, but the same father, which was Friction, who was, what would he have been? Friction would have been half Brahma, half Easter egger. So, you know, and we got rid of Friction last year, which was horrible because I felt bad when he started taking all my roosters. I was like, oh, I love him. And I did love Friction. But I already had the two young roosters that I really, really like. Tut and I have a really good bond. Yesterday, I turned him loose, and when I came around the corner, there was Little Red, and I didn't want Tut to hurt him. And so I turned back around, and Tut's sitting in the doorway. He's stretching a little bit. And I was like, buddy, you got to go back. He turned around and went right back into his barn stall. I was like, thank you. And he just looks up at me. Tut is an amazing rooster. And I want to talk about roosters for a minute because roosters will not be where my girls are going. They will never have to deal with another rooster chasing them around, mounting them. You know, they don't have to deal with that anymore. So the birds are actually getting the better end of the deal. But let's talk about roosters for a minute. Odin was my first rooster. He was 100% Brahma. He was 6 months old when he got here. And for like a year and a half, we had no problems. And then one day I went out there and I was flipping over watermelons. I had thrown them out there, but they didn't turn right. So I had to go in and flip them over. And while I was bent down, he attacked me in the face. He came from the back, but he was on my head within I don't know, 10 seconds. I wasn't near the girls. I wasn't doing anything but flipping the watermelons over. And so then that's when I decided it was time for him to go. And yes, I shot him. I cried. I bawled my eyes out because I was like, oh my goodness. And then the opportunity came for me to get Friction. And that was awesome because Friction was Odin's son. And when he came back to me, he came back to me with Frazzle, who was the crossbeak at the farm that I took, or that was buying all of my chickens. And so I told him, I said, well, I can't bring her back by herself. She needs someone that she knows to help her because she was very insecure. Because she was part of the Flaverol breed line from Gracie. Long story. Which is why Chicopee looks like a Faverol, only she is like 3 times bigger than a Faverol, and she has these huge, thick yellow legs because she has Brahma also crossed in with her and other chickens crossed in with her. So I don't know how she ended up looking like a purebred Faverol, salmon Faverol. But anyway, roosters. Let's get back to the roosters because this is an amazing thing. If you buy chickens, baby chicks, and you notice that one is a rooster and you're going to keep him, take that rooster every day in your hand. Give him treats, talk to him, use his name. Because I'm going to tell you something. The rooster is the important part of your flock when you have them. Because if you can control your rooster controls the girls. So when I tell Tut, hey, it's time for bed, get everybody up, Tut will look at me and he will start gathering everybody to go to bed. And believe it, don't care. Friction was the same way. When I brought Friction here, he loved me so much because when he got here, he had a much better life than he did at the other place. And so he loved me. And not only that, but he was with Friction, who had the crossbeak, and I was giving her yogurts. I'm trying to get her to gain weight because she just hadn't been eating right because of her crossbeak. And so here he's getting yogurt and oatmeal and everything mushy, wonderful, scrambled eggs, so on and so forth. So Friction loved me. And then when I gave him his flock of girls, he was like, woohoo. And I could tell Friction, hey, let's get everybody up. And he would start rallying all of the girls up. So, you know, having a rooster is very important if you want a rooster. If you're not worried about, hatching eggs and all you need and you have plenty of protection out there, you don't need a rooster. I need a rooster because I like to hatch my eggs. Roosters are tough on girls, and I'll tell you that right now. But I love my roosters, and I do recommend that if you do buy chicks this year and you find a rooster in amongst them and you want to keep that rooster, I would suggest taking him by himself, loving on him, talking to him, using his name, giving him little extra treats, and then put him back in with the girls as he's growing. And when you build that bond with that rooster, it's a remarkable thing because Tut and Oliver were hand hatched from me, raised by me, and very much appreciated. Did this make sense? I don't know. But the next video will be our field trip. So how exciting will that be? You'll have a great day. Hugs from a distance and be ready for the field trip. Bye, y'all.